whole brand new file.
Just because, too, you can do anything, just because.
This game was the last straw.
I see your point, but I still disagree.
Massive RPG zombie game.
Okay, I didn't know we had agreed to that.
From a consumer point of view,
Because it's never going to change unless we take a stand.
supposed to be the parents' responsibility.
How is that fair?
We're not going to talk about
Well,
that.
beggars can't be choosers, but I wish I could be.
Link 584.
Voice go.
It's a podcast. Hi, this is Link 584,
And I'm Voice go.
and we're It's a Monitor,
And this is the podcast.
episode 6. And today we are going to be talking about replay value and how important we feel that they are or are not, depending on the game. Whisker, how do you feel about replay value in general? What does that mean to you?
Okay, let me lay this down for you, Todd. Okay, so replay value is basically whether you want to go back and play the game once you've beaten it. A few games that have incredible replay value, gosh, now I can't think of anything.
Resident Evil 4.
Okay, Resident Evil 4. That one's a good one. Because you beat the game, and the game rewards you with some awesome guns, like the Chicago Typewriter, which, if you don't know, is like a machine gun that never runs out of ammo. You get an outfit, don't you?
Yeah.
You get like a special mafia outfit that Leon dresses in, and Ashley gets put into like a tin can armor suit so she never gets hurt by anything.
And you don't even get these on the first replay through. You actually get to replay with all the guns and all the stuff that you've acquired the first time around, all your wonderful upgrades. So all the beginning places are going to be much easier than when you just started with your first handgun or something. You're going to have your nice upgraded weapons. And then you play through a second time to gain more money, so then during the third time through, you can afford the Chicago Typewriter.
Exactly.
I mean, that really shows, that's triple replay value right there. And it's fun going back to the old levels and having better weapons, and the levels are designed well that it feels fun every time.
And discovering more things that you didn't get to discover the first or second playthrough around. It's so much fun to do. However, a game that doesn't really have quite the replay value would be, for instance, Batman Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. Because, for me anyway, when I played Arkham Asylum, I went through and, yeah, I did hard mode mostly, and I did all of the original mode, and I got everything during my first playthrough because it was so much fun. I didn't want to have to go through and get all the same ones again. I wanted to get the ones I hadn't gotten so that I could say it was 100% complete. Now, looking back at that game, I would hate to have to go back and replay that.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's also a whole nother aspect of it. Like, that's a game where you don't need replay value, because the replay value is really just for the harder story mode. Because if you take something like Arkham City, they both share all the Riddler secrets. If you get it in one mode, you get it in the other. Everything that's done there is automatically complete in the other. Same thing for like gadgets as well. So you don't have to actually redo anything. I mean, so the replay value for the new game plus, as they call it, is just for the hard mode in Arkham City. But there's no need for replaying anything else other than like the Riddler secrets and all that stuff, because that's the point. Is it's such a long task. There's a lot of challenges that by the time you're done, you've put so many hours into it and you feel good about completing it. So this might be something to revisit in like a few years down the road. So the replay value for story is there just to beat it on hard mode with the changes that they've made. And all the other aspects of it, the collectibles and all that, I don't think they ever intended for replay. They intend for you to get it. And get all the secrets that are there because they're shared on both of them. So if you ever want to redo anything of that stuff, you'd actually have to start a whole brand new file. So a game like that doesn't need replay because it's already there. You just replay the story, which automatically doubles your time. But the fun is in all the extra stuff that's included for free, not DLC or anything. All the different Riddler stuff, all the different side quests. I mean, they give you so much meat. that you don't need it. But then you take something like BioShock. Now that's a very linear game. You're not as much free exploration, but the replay value, it's not strong there, but it is. It's strong because it's a lot of fun. The replay value isn't there to go and try to get the other ending or anything, because there's no rewarding process. It's just fun to replay because it is fun to go through the levels. So replay value has its place, and it doesn't. So like she was saying in Resident Evil 4, that's a 10-hour game. But if you play it through 3 times to get all this stuff, and a lot of people do, it turns into a 30-hour game. The replay value is strong. That is one of those examples where it matters. Something like Arkham City, you do the story, that's all they force you to redo. They don't make you redo the Riddler stuff or anything, because they understand what you want. But now, what's a game...
I was specifically talking about Arkham Asylum because I haven't played Arkham City.
But you've been watching me play a lot of it.
Just a little. A tad. The challenge maps a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Arkham Asylum was actually the exact same thing, I believe.
I don't remember. It was too long ago.
Me too. But what's a game that's a bad example of replay or lack of? Can you think of one?
Oh, let's see. Oblivion. Okay, this is probably not the case for everybody else except me. But I played through, I put in 100 hours, I did all this and I did all that, and I never ended up completing the story. I had a lot of problems with my Xbox when I was playing it. It kept freezing, but I did all of the guilds and I got my character level up, and then I just wasn't quite interested in going back and redoing it once my Xbox was fixed. And like a game that you can put 100 hours into, 100 plus hours, that you just, you can put all your time into one playthrough, is not worth replaying to me.
Right, because the adventure just keeps going. It's kind of like an MMO.
Despite the fact that there are 100 different characters and 100 different combos that you could play. You could play a warrior, you could play a mage, you can play an archer, you can play a combination of all 3. But, with a game like that where you can put so many hours into just one part of the story, has absolutely no replay value to me whatsoever.
Right, and that's a perfect example of a game that doesn't need it. It's there if you want it, but it's just so well executed that you don't need it. It's just like Batman Arkham City. There's so much more to do. You're not going to keep playing through over and over and over again, doing the story and all that. They give you the challenge maps for what you want to do, and they give you specific challenge maps. This one has a lot of enemies that do this. This one has a lot of variety of enemies. This one has just this one main thug. So there are games that really have it balanced out. But then there are some where you say, wow, this game was this long, and like 10 hours, something short. And you say, wow, this was a fun game. Wow. I want to replay it with all my weapons and stuff again. But they don't give you the option, like they would in Resident Evil. And you feel, well, that's not cool. Why not add it? I don't feel motivated to replay it with nothing. I want to do like I did in this other game. So sometimes there's a game where that's a bad example of replay value. They don't give it to you when it should. Or another example would be, they give you a game, and you're like, okay. So replay value, this was a great game. Replay value isn't there. But then you wonder, is that a bad thing? Well, if you have like a 20-hour game, then you're beginning to get into a little bit lengthier, but you're not as long as Final Fantasy, for example, where you put 40 to 70 hours into a game. Then of course you're not going to want to replay it. You've already gotten that much time done with it. The adventure's over. You're happy, you're satisfied. You'll replay it in a few years because it was a great adventure. But when you have like a 20-hour game, and that's all you get out of it is the 20, there's no replay, because it's not a multiplayer game, and you're not going to put hundreds of hours into it, but you had a fun experience. I wonder if that makes you feel like awkward a little bit, like, alright, I put 20 hours in, but I have no replay value to this. Then it becomes a little awkward. Like, I remember playing Kingdom Hearts, though, for example. Kingdom Hearts 2. a lot of people loved it, and they took like 20 hours the first time, and then they replay it on the hardest mode and took 10 the next, because it had that replay value. But if I got done with just a 20-hour adventure, and you feel like, I wish I could replay this, but at the same time you're not motivated enough to, it makes you feel awkward. So it makes you wonder what each game should have for replay value, and that's the problem. There's no standard that you could have, because each one's different. A game like Oblivion doesn't need it. You already put hundreds of hours in. But then there's some that you feel, I can't believe they left this out, and then others that just you left feeling awkward, and there's no real words for it.
You know,
Do you even get what I mean?
I really have nothing else to say about replay value. I can't really think of any games that...
What about Mass Effect? Like, Mass Effect, to me, I know a lot of people redid that game. They would play it over and over, and same thing for Mass Effect 2. But there are some of us out there that feel awkward about it. That's like a 20-hour game that I'm talking about.
Alright, let me give you my opinion on Mass Effect 1. You played it a few times over, right?
Me?
Yes.
I played it 1.5 times, because after that, I thought I was going to have a lot more fun doing it again. But to be honest, it felt really awkward playing through because of the relationships that I built over that 20-hour period. Because 20 hours is a lot more than 10. But it's not nearly as like a Final Fantasy 40. But it was enough to make the connections, and I remember the choices I made. So going through and trying to make the other choices felt wrong and awkward. I mean, I'm glad that they had it there, but it wasn't for me. I couldn't even get past much more of that second playthrough around.
For me, Mass Effect 1 pissed me off so bad. Okay, anytime I died or had to replay a certain part or anything, just having to replay that game made me so angry. Okay, like even seeing somebody else play it or a trailer of it makes me mad. And I don't understand why, because it's one of my favorite games. But to go back and play it all over again and do everything I'd already done over and over and over again, just, it irks me something fierce, okay? Just, I want to punch that game in the face.
You mean on the replay?
Yeah. Like, I mean, just, I can't even explain how angry it makes me to think about having to replay that game, even though it was one of my favorites. The soundtrack was phenomenal, and the characters and the way they did it, and, you know, and like all the voice options and the chat options, and you can be good or evil, or you can be a jackass, or you can do an alien, or you could do a human, or you can kill off your characters and your teammates, and you know, we just recently got a big screen TV so we could actually see what we're trying to say, you know, for one of those games, but the thought of going back to play it makes me want to strangle myself.
Yeah, it's just like, I feel after 20 hours, I'm really connected to my characters, and there was a lot of stuff I didn't do. But it's like, going through a second time and making different choices and all that, I thought was going to be exciting and great, but the problem was that it just felt wrong compared to the choices I would make, because it's much more detailed and in-depth than other games, where just say, hit A button for this, B button for that, and then advance. Like, everything here is connected, everything's emotional, everything's much stronger than other games. So, I put in a 20-hour game, and I've made these connections and these choices that going through again felt awkward. It didn't feel right. But at the same time, I felt awkward because I wanted to keep playing it. And the option was actually there. But it was just not enough. It was more of like, I want to go to Mass Effect 2 now. That's what I want to do. So it just felt like the game wasn't long enough, but there was other things to do and so on. But it was one of those awkward moments for me. And for you, it pissed you off.
It really did.
So
it did. I mean, it's seriously one of my favorite games, but the thought of having to replay that again, like, I would choose death over that.
Yeah, it just seems like it'd be a chore the second time around, maybe.
because there's so much, and it's hard, and you can die 100 times, and you get stuck into certain areas and you can't get out, and you're stuck with all these like hard choice decisions, and it's just such a long and like tiresome game that was done so well. But the replay value on that game was just really not.
But then, of course, for a lot of people, though, it was very high. So of course, everyone is different. Everyone is different. But taking that into consideration as a game developer, what do? I mean, when you look at replay value and all these different things, you really got to go in and focus and say, okay, what feels right and what doesn't. And the thing is, you're not going to meet everyone's expectations, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm okay with the fact that the replay value was like being punched in the face almost, because I know for most people it was okay. They like that. So if the majority of people like it, that's how it should be done. It was just like, there was something. I wish there was like another mode, maybe to go through everything, but with all of your stuff, just like in Resident Evil 4 or something, or some sort of bonus things, like maybe a super hard mode or something. I don't know. Replay value is just a very interesting and very weird subject. There's a lot of ways it can go, and it all depends on each game, because not every game needs it. Some certainly do.
I have nothing else to say.
Neither do I. This podcast was more of a clarification of what we feel and statements about what can be said about replay value, and that the importance of it, it's only important in certain scenarios. I mean, it's important in every scenario, but it's important in how it's integrated or not integrated. And I think that's really all I just wanted to say about it.
I guess that's about what I have to say also.
Okay.
I mean, I want more games to have better replay value, but I want more games to
be longer, maybe, so then they don't necessarily need it.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, really. Is like, when I was a kid, I played a lot of great games, and I love the story so much I didn't want it to end, and so I can play it now over and over and kind of get nostalgic about my childhood and my past and this story that I was so like enthralled with. But like, so I want a game like Oblivion, like Fallout, where I can put so many hours into it and not have to replay it. But then sometimes I want a game that I would love to replay. And I guess, I don't know, beggars can't be choosers, but I wish I could be.
So it's pretty much the bottom line?
I guess so.
Yeah, like
There
are some that just, I could look at some stories like Super Mario RPG. That's a good game, but the replay value is there, but not instantly. It's not like Resident Evil 4, where as soon as you finish, you'll be like, yeah, I want to go back and play, because it's not as mindless. I mean, it's there, but there's a story, and I don't want to have to go back to the beginning without all my stuff, but I want to be there and be back with my old friends, and I want to do it all again. I mean, it's just like playing through Final Fantasy X again. It's a long adventure that, you want to reconnect with old friends. You want to go back and do it, but not instantly, because you're tired when you're done. You're happy and satisfied, but you're tired when you're done. So you also have to look and say, okay, well, the replay value is strong, but you're not ready to do it yet. So you always have this wanting to go back and play it every year, so then you never sell it. You never want to put it back into the used game market. You want to keep it because the replay value is there, because you say, hey, I'm going to want to play this again probably next year. Like, that's how I do Mario RPG and Ocarina of Time. I play both of those games every year, once a year. I let anywhere from 12 to 16 months go by, and I never sell my copies of them because I'm going to want to play them.
And as soon as you sell a copy to any game, you're going to want to play it as soon as you sold it, like a month or two after. You're going to be like, damn it, why did I sell that game? I want to play it now.
Exactly.
And that is exactly what happened to us for Crackdown 1.
Yep.
Exactly what happened. That was awful.
It was. But see, so replay value can even transcend more than just the instant replay. But the yearly replay, that is a real thing. I've known it in plenty of people where that is a real thing. Yearly replay. So it's these things that you don't even think about sometimes. That like, wow, I'm never gonna sell this game because I play it every year. I mean, you sometimes let those slip out of your mind, but that is another form of replay.
Oh, all right. How about this one? Ocarina of Time. That was you were talking about that one on Nintendo 64, and they just remade it into the Nintendo 3DS. And of course, everybody wants it because it's all 3D, and they're like
new graphics.
New graphics, and things are a little bit different. But like, see, that game was so great and wonderful that it makes you want to replay it on the new system. Because if a game has shitty replay value and they remake the game over and, put it for something like a different system, but it has no replay value, why the fuck would you play it?
Right.
You wouldn't.
But then you take nice games, and a lot of games today are getting HD re-releases.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that, right there, that might be the tip to do a replay right there. And then you will even be like, hey, this is more modern graphics. Maybe I'll replay this one more often than I'd be replaying my old copy. Or that's just the jump ticket you need that you say, hey, I've been dying to replay this for a long time but haven't been motivated. You just have that craving so badly, but you're just not. There's something not right about it. But then, like, oh my god, now this is going to be an HD re-release? I think this is a sign that I'm going to wait and buy this new one and replay it. So replay value comes in all shapes and sizes. And it's just something to think about is all. There's just something to talk about and let out. There's no direct point to this podcast other than just talking about it today.
I agree.
Is that it for today?
I concur. Yes, that is enough.
All right. So once again, I'm Link584.
Oh, sorry, coughing. Before we go.
Oh, okay.
I know I lied. Let us know what your favorite game is to replay and what your least favorite game is to replay in the comments below, and we'll respond to you. We'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts.
Yeah. So what are your favorite games to replay, and what are some games that you absolutely
would shoot yourself in the face to replay?
What games that had a replay option, but you did not feel tempted to even hit that replay button for good or bad reasons? Let us know.
All right, and this was the podcast. Yay!